Hi everyone and welcome to Author Nation. I'm here with JD and Alessandra from Authors A.I and they're going to be talking about their software Marlowe and the reports that they do. So why don't you talk us through a bit about what you're talking about at the show?
Absolutely. I'll start. We're doing a presentation called Put Down Your Pitchforks, How AI Can Help Your Writing. And we are Authors A.I, so our product is Marlowe. Marlowe is an analytical artificial intelligence that is basically an expert at analyzing a novel and then finding ways that it could be improved or areas that it needs help or what its strengths are. So we're very much on the editorial side of things, but also understanding kind of where you are in the market,
Right,
and what books are similar to yours. Do you want to talk anything?
Well, shockingly, not everybody in the world is a big fan of AI, so we're here to sort of explain exactly, how this can benefit authors. We've been around a long time, since summer of 2019. It was kind of interesting. We actually went out and approached the top 200 independent authors in the world, every one of whom makes 6 or 7 figures in salary every year. And half of them came on board as founding authors, shareholders in the company. And we created this thing. We knew AI, even back then, we thought it was going to be a big deal. So we brought on Natio, who's the co-author of the bestseller code. And he's helped guide us through the early iterations of Marlowe. Mm-hmm. He created the original algorithm. Since then, we've sort of brought on other data scientists. So it's a really interesting collaboration between authors and data scientists to create a tool that's really of benefit to fiction authors.
Yeah. So the way it works is once you've already written your manuscript, you can then plug it into Marlowe and it will give you feedback on the manuscript. Is that kind of right?
Absolutely. So it's very fast. And Marlowe is multi-genre. So as long as you write adult fiction, it needs to be over 15,000 words. Mm-hmm. You upload your manuscript to Marlowe, and within a few minutes, you'll get back. Currently, it's a over 30-page report that's all of the analysis, but we are transitioning to an interactive dashboard where you'll be able to compare your book side by side with best-selling novels and be able to see what the stats are for your genre and how your book compares. So that's in the very near future. Maybe by the time someone's watching this, that will be. So they can check that out at Authors.ai.
What are some of the stats that authors will get to see that compares the books? Like, how does that look in practice?
You can start.
Okay, I'll take that. So it's a lot of different things. So what's unique? Oh, sorry. It's a lot of different things. So what's unique about Marlowe is it's like looking at your book through a different lens. And it's one that are only artificial intelligence. So Marlowe doesn't compete with human editors. It just looks at your book in a different way. So one of the things it'll do is plot out your plot arc. It'll show the twists and turns in your novel, the pacing graph, and then you'll be able to see my pacing compared to where the crawdad sings, and you can be able to see how your book is similar or dissimilar, and not just in the ups and downs, but also the kind of consistent tone throughout.
Right.
You can also see comps. So what books in our bestseller corpus are similar to your books in terms of writing style or in terms of subject. You can see things like Marlowe will identify the most common, any cliches that you're using in your writing, things like that. The human eye might not pick up.
Yeah. Sorry, go on.
I'd like to add. So there are 2 versions of Marlowe. One is Marlowe Pro and one is Marlowe Basic. So for the free version, Marlowe Basic, you get really fun stuff like a dirty words finder, right? So I don't know anybody else who does that, but we have a really good database of profane language out there, plus cliches, repetitive language, overuse of adjectives or adverbs, kind of the things you might find in Pro Writing Aid, but, a little bit beyond that. But then on top of that, we've got the Marlowe Pro report that does do really interesting things. So whether you're a beginning author or an established author, we're actually branching into 2 different kind of categories. So the new interactive dashboard will be helpful whether you're just starting out and you want to learn the basics of what you ought to be thinking about in terms of story beats and pacing, all that jazz, or you're more professional author with lots of books under your belt. It's got some more advanced tips for you. So I think a lot of people are going to find really interesting things. I I wish I had this when I was starting out as an author, right? Because I had to read like 20 books on fiction writing just to learn the basics of, here's really the formula of success to write something that a lot of people are going to want to read, whether it's tropes or story structure or, your inciting incident or the kinds of things we learn along the way. This is all part of the report now.
Right, okay. How are you finding people using the software like in conjunction with other tools? Like you mentioned, co-writing aids. Are people using it in conjunction with something like Scrivener or something to write the books? Or
Yeah, it's a great question. So one thing that's unique about Marlowe is it is more of a developmental level like top view look. So a lot of times authors will use it with Grammarly or ProWriting Aid or AutoCrit or something that is more an inline editor.
Yeah.
And while those things point out like typos or maybe misused words, Marlowe is looking at it more from a bird's eye view.
Yeah.
So absolutely, you can use Marlowe in conjunction with a lot of other programs, which is what we see most of our customers doing.
Yeah, nice. You mentioned just now as well, you're both authors as well. So what sort of books do you write?
We're both thriller authors, but we write completely different kinds of thrillers.
Do you write under your own name?
I do.
Yeah.
Most people don't even know who your real identity is, right? I write techno-thrillers. So I take science fiction-y thrillers, action thrillers. Just had a new one called The Golden Relic that came out on Saturday.
Yeah.
So. Happy release. And I write domestic suspense. So under A.R. Torre, or I write like steamy romance under Alessandra.
Right, okay.
But yeah, I'm more known for my domestic thrillers.
Sure.
Yeah, or domestic suspense.
And have you put your books through Marlowe? And what were the results that came out?
Marlowe doesn't give you a score, but it'll show you, how you sort of relate to others. And I think both of our books are doing quite well on Marlowe. You run different drafts of the book through it. When you're done with like the first draft, you'll do it and say, I forgot to do this, or there's like a scene I need to add here because it's too slow a pace for 3 chapters in a row. So I use Marlowe for that kind of reorganization of the final draft, and to check on any final misspellings and other kinds of things that I rely on too often, like in terms of like crutch phrases, that kind of stuff. And you go back and you do your second or third draft. I think Marlowe has a pretty high opinion of my pieces. I don't know about yours.
Yeah, I'm the same. It's since I use Marlowe so many times, I'll run 6 or 7 drafts through Marlowe when I'm going through edits. And what I'm really excited about, like with the new dashboard, is I can compare draft 1 versus draft 2, and I can see like where did the story beats change in it? Is the pacing different? My dialogue percentages of a lot of times I'll add a lot more dialogue in a second or third draft, so I can see that my percentage of dialogue changed and where it changed in the book. So it's not a lot of authors, the first time they use it, they're kind of worried about the judgment of Marlowe. Marlowe was trained on best-selling authors, so a lot of times the comparison stats you're seeing are best-selling books. But it's very judgment-free. It's like there's this relief that happens when an author's like, oh, Marlowe's very kind in its feedback. It's just something nice about just having a clinical, almost immediate feedback and being able to see that it's not, no one else sees this. If you, do with it as you want.
Yeah,
with
of
the
course.
feedback.
So what's your plans with Author.nation? Obviously, you've got your talks you're doing. What was your strategy? Why did you want to come here? And what have you got out of it so far?
Our customers are authors, right? So this is a place to go. It's the largest independent author conference in the world. We've appeared at the old 20 Books conference, a couple of times. And now this is a new iteration of this. So we're here to meet our people. We gave a nice presentation yesterday. A lot of people showed up and learned about this. And we're also trying to sort of clear up a lot of the misgivings and misperceptions about AI. We don't, Marlowe does not write anything for you. It's not generative AI. There are other companies here that do that. I think we're the only long-form fiction-based AI startup out there. So we're just trying to get the word out to more and more people about a tool that a lot of people, I think, would really find useful.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, and like JD said, when we started back in 2019, AI was not a bad word. It was something like new and cool
Steven
and
Spielberg
different.
film.
Yeah, and then when ChatGPT Chat GPT came out, everything suddenly, authors became very kind of alarmed at the idea of AI. And like JD says, we don't train generative. We are not developing generative AI. When an author submits a manuscript with Marlowe, it is not used for any training purposes. It is protected and is secure. And we are built by authors. I mean, authors, are our backbone, and it's us and academic data scientists. So we're very interested in preserving and protecting manuscripts, intellectual property, and making sure that it's used in a legitimate way.
Yeah. Did you get much pushback from authors when you first started showcasing it, because of the fact that it was AI, or is it?
Well, not at the beginning. I mean, it wasn't until really the recent wave of AI, and when generative AI entered the picture. And then we occasionally get some pushback from, again, authors that don't necessarily distinguish between generative AI and analytical AI. So that's part of our education job, is to come to places like this and kind of just talk about the different types of AI, and that not all AI is the same. And if you give your IP to someone, you just need to be aware of how it's being used. Yeah,
of course. So just before we go, just give us just a quick rundown of exactly who the sort of people should be using Marlowe, and who your target audience is, and give us a sales pitch.
Yeah. Do you want to I can do that? Okay, so I would suggest Marlowe for really any author. And if you're debut versus experienced, we have everyone from aspiring authors using Marlowe to 7-figure annual authors who use Marlowe. So what's nice about the report, especially the upcoming new version of the report, is we do have feedback that is catered to your experience level. But also, it's important to say that Marlowe is built for fiction. It was trained on and is built for fiction.
So just for fiction.
So just for fiction and just for long form fiction. So 15,000 words or more. And you can check it out at Authors.ai. You can run a free basic report there, or you can check out the pro report.
Great.
I'd also add, if you go to Authors.ai/testimonials, you'll see dozens and dozens of authors that have used it to good success. We've had over 25,000 Marlowe reports run. Some of these authors, they're making high six figures, and they love Marlowe, and they run all of their drafts through Marlowe. So, depending on where you are in your author journey, this is a really kind of, for some people, it's like a poor man's developmental editor. We don't want to put book editors out of business for sure, but we also have editors who are using this.
I was about to say, do you have editors using this?
Yes, we do. And I don't know if they give us credit or not. We have to go back to their authors. It's fine if they don't. But, we find, academics are using it, authors are using it, and editors are using it. And it's really geared towards authors at all stages of the author journey.
Have you got any good case studies of people who have used it, or are you not allowed to share that?
Yeah, tell them.
James Rassone is a military science fiction author, as well as he writes in other genres. But he used it, and he uses it a lot actually with his Amazon ads. So he uses it not just in the developmental and, improving the interior of the book, but he also uses the comps that Marlowe provides to help with his targeting with Amazon ads. So part of the report, it shows the books that are most similar to yours in writing style, or subject matter. So it's two different. Or just we have like an all-around assessment. And with the new report, you'll be able to see, like, if you think, I think I write like John Grisham, you'll be able to actually kind of see how your book side by side compares.
Nice. Yeah. Great.
Absolutely.
Marlowe will say, no.
Actually, you write like, Danielle Steele. That's it,
Nothing wrong with Danielle Steele.
Nothing wrong. Yeah, I'll take Danielle Steele paychecks any day.
Well, thank you very much for joining me. It's been great to chat to you, and good luck for the rest of the conference.
Absolutely. Thanks
for having us.
Thanks. Thank you so much for tuning into the Publishing Performance Podcast. I really hope you found today's episode inspiring. I love chatting to authors, writers, and people in the publishing world. Now, just before we wrap up, let me tell you about Publishing Performance, the #1 platform for authors who want to increase Amazon book sales, but are not really sure where to start. Now, this show is all about helping you to sell more books. And if you're looking to boost your publishing game and to maximize your book's potential on Amazon, then Publishing Performance is designed to help authors just like you to grow your readership and to reach a much wider audience. Now, I know that Amazon ads can be slightly complicated, which is why Publishing Performance is like having a personalized ad account manager to create your ad campaigns, to choose your best keywords, and to make adjustments in real time. Now, if you're investing in ads, you really want to make sure that your investment is being used effectively, and Publishing Performance does just that. It aims to make your budget go further, improve your organic rank, and target keywords more effectively. Just go to publishingperformance.com to get started with Amazon ads for just $1.